and welcome back to my nail corner. Today we are going to remove my dip powder from my jelly tips using the I don't know, what do we call it? Pop off the peelies method. So this is the tool I like to use. I've had it for eons, so I have no idea where I got it, but it's just a cuticle pusher that has like a flat edge to it. You can use the pointier edge of a regular like cuticle pusher that has like a curved edge on the one side, or an orange wood stick, whatever you're comfortable with. Be careful when you're doing this, because when you're applying any pressure, you could slip and hit your skin. Speaking from experience, I've done it before. Nothing you're not going to recover from, you're not going to bleed out, but like nobody wants to cut up their skin around their nails. It's sensitive. So as you could see there on the first one, I tend to go in for the side of the nail. I look for any separation from the dip powder to my enhancement. I have jelly tips on my nails right now. I have worn peel base over builder gel and used this method for removal. I do find that my dip powder pops off in like a full like nail shape piece when I apply my peel base over builder gel. I don't know what the science behind it is at all, but for some reason when I use peel base over jelly tips, it just holds on a little bit better, which I'm cool with. This allows me to get, like I wore recently a mani for 8 days and didn't have any dip powder pop off my jelly tips, and then I was still able to remove it when I was ready, just like this. So I kind of just find a weak spot where there might be a little bit of lifting. If you're wearing a light color like this, it's kind of easier to tell when it starts to lift off of the jelly tips. But I recommend not going in from the cuticle line. I start on the sidewalls because I find that if I start at the cuticle, I run the risk, or a higher risk, of getting that tool under the jelly tips or builder gel and then lifting that. And then you just have to spend time repairing that lifting and kind of doing a fill. So if you have a nail like I was struggling to find a weak point in this one, you can keep doing it. Like I finally was like, okay, I see a little lifting. It just looks like a lighter color. So this is like a really light pink, and you can just kind of see where it separates from the enhancement. It's hard to explain and hard to show on camera, but you can tell in person when it starts to lift up, and then you just work your kind of tool under there. Now, if you have like a really stubborn one that will not come up, then I recommend taking a hand file, hitting up the free edge of your nail and around your sidewalls. That is going to break the seal from the dip powder to your nail enhancement or your natural nail. I'll talk about natural nails with this in a second. But if you do that, if you break the seal with a file and then apply some cuticle oil around the edge, that'll kind of seep in, and any moisture, cuticle oil, or like a warm water rinse will also do it. It kind of breaks up the peel base. So the peel base that I use is UNT. I'm sorry, it's currently unavailable on Amazon. I am trying out a few other ones to find like my new favorite, because I've heard rumor that UNT might be discontinued, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So anyway, it's water soluble. So when water or like I said, cuticle oil gets in there, it breaks that up and it will allow it to lift a little bit easier. So as I'm doing this, I do want to talk about peel base over your natural nail. So first I'll tell you what I'm going to do next is grab a hand file around those edges. So when I apply peel base, I leave the tiniest bit of margin so you can tell where that little bit of dip powder hung on to my nail. It's because I leave a little bit of margin around my peel base to allow that mani to hold on just a little bit better. So I'm going to take a hand file, go around those edges and just remove that dip powder that's remaining, and then use a buffing block to just make sure it's nice and smooth and ready for my next application. So if you are wanting to use peel base and you're wanting to apply it over your natural nail, I would just use extreme caution. So you can do that, but what I have found to happen is that when you put the peel base down and then you want to pull off the dip powder, you run a risk of tearing your natural nail. So especially if you're going like from the cuticle line and you're like, oh, look, it's like the dip powder's loosened up, and you go to pull it off, it might be holding pretty tight at your free edge. And so when you pull that dip powder off, it's stronger than your natural nail and it will tear your natural nail. So with Peel Base, unless you're using it for like gel polish or regular polish on your natural nail, that would come up much easier because it's not stronger than your natural nail. But with dip powder, I highly recommend using a protective barrier for your natural nail. So either a jelly tip or a builder gel overlay just to protect your natural nail. And that doesn't mean you have to have it longer than your natural nail. You can just do a thin builder gel overlay. You could just put down a layer of gel base and gel top coat over your natural nail just to give it that little bit of protection so that if the dip powder holds on to something, it's the gel and not your natural nail. Anyway, that's my recommendation. So as far as Peel Base goes, it's not meant for long-term wear. Like I said, I do get like a longer set of wear or a longer set of days together with Peel Base over my jelly tips, but that's to say I wouldn't count on that. So I apply it knowing that there's a chance that the next day or two after I apply it, I could have dip powder pop off. And I don't mind that. The jelly tips protect my natural nail. I still have that length there and I can just go right in for my next mani. But that is my personal preference and just what I do because I don't mind doing my nails all the time. But if you're somebody who wants 2 to 3 weeks out of a mani, don't use Peel Base. It's not going to be your friend. You're going to want to use something, you don't want to use Peel Base and you're going to have to use like the soak off method or filing that color off. So that's a question I get a lot. Like, what if I don't want to use Peel Base, but I want to wear jelly tips, but I don't want to remove my jelly tips every time I remove my dip powder? Well, then my recommendation to you is going to be to file off the dip powder down to your jelly tips and then go in with your next application. So these jelly tips were fairly fresh. By the way, the color I just popped off was Cool Kids from Gigi's Nail Co. It was from the Love Like Winter collection that she collabed with Miranda from Corgi's Wine and Nails. It's a beautiful collection and I loved this color so much. So definitely check that out if you're interested in the color that was on my nails. As you can see, I wore it on all 10 fingers, which is a rare thing for me. So now I have a glass cuticle pusher out as well. I like to use that to clean up the cuticle line of any excess like debris or product. So these are the main tools that I use for removal. After this is done, like after I'm satisfied with removing all of the dip powder from the jelly tips, I'm ready to go. As long as there's no lifting of that jelly tip from my natural nail, I go right in with my next dip application. So you'll see here in just a second, like this to me is like satisfactory, removed, and ready for my next dip application. So I hope this helped answer some questions about Peel Base over jelly tips. Drop a comment if you have any other questions and I will try to answer them for you. Thanks for being here and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye now.